How's everybody doing tonight?
Good evening, everybody.
Hope everybody's having a decent week so far. It is only Tuesday, so I could.
Yeah, I know, but I've been busy all week.
I'm not wanting winter to come. I'm kind of. It's a little chilly out here for me, and it's only 60 degrees. So
Yeah, we got a pretty good show for a little while anyway. It's
yeah,
about distractions we're seeing.
distractions everywhere. Seems like every time something's happening, we're distracted by something else, and
Yep.
I really don't know if it's just the news media, if it's the media's fault, or if they just can't get enough stuff to cover either. So,
Well, you
and if
know, this war with Israel and Palestine is just really, really keeping everything stirred up. And there's things that are coming out that a lot of us don't see every day or hear about every day.
and I think my battery just went dead today.
Your battery just went dead. What the hell, man?
Well, it's moving around again now. So, did you want to see about the lasers in the Iron Dome?
Yeah, let's talk about that because, we heard about the lasers in Maui, and now we're hearing about the lasers in Israel.
And I honestly think that it's still all tracking, but I know you don't
I,
necessarily agree with me.
well, I,
But
I don't put anything past anybody anymore.
that's the truth. That's a heck of a way to freeze your face, too. So, all right, here we go. This is about the Iron Dome.
Tracking its latest offensive.
It went away. What happened?
I'm sorry, I hit the button while I was trying to get my mouse to move again.
Swirlies. What the heck?
Can you see me now?
Here we go. Round
Can you see
two.
me? Okay, hold on.
Maybe. Maybe not.
Israel's air and anti-missile defense system. Now, the Iron Beam stops a variety of threats, including rockets, artillery and mortar rounds, and drones. It was projected to be finished by 2025, but it's being expedited due to this war. News Nation's Elizabeth Pran joins us live. Elizabeth, has this Iron Beam actually been tested?
Yeah, nice to be with you, Nicole. It actually has been tested in March of 2022, but as you mentioned, not planned for deployment until 2025. The technology is absolutely stunning. And like you said, it complements the Iron Dome, but it's quite different. This is a laser. This is a short range missile detector. The defense system that is in place is just quite different. In practice, this is a fiber laser that detects and destroys and latches onto any short range projectile. So anything from a UAV, mortar rocket, drones, missiles. You can see, and I think we do, here it is right here. This is a enormous laser, and it is on top of a swivel. It communicates with a command and surveillance system. It deploys a laser at an object when it's in range. So in theory, closer than 10 miles. And the reason that being is because the beam that shoots from the laser on this weapon uses about 100 kilowatts of power. You can see on your screen there. So for folks who maybe need an analogy, that is how much energy that would be used to power the average US home or maybe a small neighborhood of smaller homes. So imagine that. Imagine how much energy is inside of that laser. So powerful that it latches on to an incoming object. And the defense official who I spoke with said it's almost like a enormous microwave. So it basically incinerates any object that it latches onto. So unlike a missile to missile contact, there may not be as much collateral debris. So in no way does this eliminate the Iron Dome or eliminate even David's sling, but the laser can reduce reliance on any of those defense systems. The dome technology, which detects an object and shoots a rocket, that's a little bit more expensive. We're talking about really $50,000, if not more, every time Israeli officials deploy one of those rockets. The Iron Beam, much cheaper, closer to $2 or $3. But there are some nuances there, Nicole, because the actual laser that we discussed because it is so advanced is exorbitant. It's millions of dollars. And just like any development, there's certainly downsides. When we talk about this laser defense system, there's something to keep in mind that it's not like a rocket. The laser needs to keep shooting its beam to destroy a target. Therefore, there can be interference with weather. There can be interference when it's colder temperatures and cloudy. I spoke with the former director of Israeli Missile Defense about this technology, and here is what he told me.
What is it good for? This present situation, we are talking about very close by targets, like firing for a few kilometers away, like mortar bombs, where time is really of essence. The speed of light helps here. It could be more effective than an interceptor weapon, providing you are not dealing with too many targets at the same time.
You know, when you talk about too many targets, Nicole, that is something to keep in mind. When you think of the Iron Dome, they can take multiple missiles, incoming missiles at the same time. When you talk about this particular laser weapon, it needs to latch onto that object, meaning it can't necessarily support multiple objects incoming at the same time. As I mentioned, there are a number of other defense systems. There's Arrow 2 and 3, there's David Sling. So these are all just pieces of the puzzle when you talk about the way that Israel is set up geographically. It needs a number of defense systems. This is just one of them. I did press him a little bit on whether or not he thought it could be deployed in the near future, and he simply said, Nicole, that if he had that information, he would not provide it to me.
He wouldn't be able to provide it. All right, got it. Elizabeth Pran, thank you. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.
Now to a very unusual sight captured on camera. Japanese
Hello,
and local
Chad.
astronomers
Did
say
you go
a
away?
satellite was recently seen beaming down green lasers over the islands. This video captured atop the Subaru telescope on Mauna Kea, operated by the National Astronomical Observatory of Japan. Bryce Moore has the story.
The lasers flash for just a couple seconds. Initially thought to be from a NASA altimeter satellite, the Japanese put out.
Okay, sorry, Sally. I don't know if you want to watch that one too.
Yeah, go ahead and let her roll.
But my mouse just completely freaking died on me for some reason. But okay, here we go.
Out a correction note on Monday saying NASA scientists found a most likely candidate as the ACDL instrument by the Chinese Daqi-1 AEMS satellite. I went to a University of Hawaii astronomer who read up on AEMS instruments.
It's a Chinese satellite that is measuring pollutants, among other things. It has many different instruments on it, some kind of topographical mapping, or they're also used for measuring stuff in the Earth's atmosphere. And I think that's what it is. It's an environmental measurement satellite.
I also sat down with the former chief of staff of Marine Forces Pacific. He had some questions.
I'm not sure, this is my opinion, why the Chinese, who are probably some of the most prolific polluters on the planet, would be collecting data on pollutants on this side of the Pacific.
Both experts say this isn't explicitly a spy satellite. It is cataloged and known by governments around the world.
The U.S. has satellites that do the same thing. So in this case, despite all of the flurry, well-deserved flurry about Chinese spy satellites and other devices, this one is just orbiting Earth and has a known orbit.
The footage was taken January 28th, before the recent incident where a Chinese balloon traversed over the mainland U.S. before being shot down off the coast of South Carolina. Which brings the question, how much is the Chinese military seeing?
They can shut down any communication nodes that they want if they believe that, I think, the public is getting too much information. So, yeah, I think it's more.
Yeah, see, that's more of what I think we'd be need to worry about, not starting fires or blowing up things, but with lasers, it'd be a lot easier to stop communications or disrupt communications and stuff than it would be to blow something up. And I actually, with that laser stuff in Hamas and stuff like that, or with Israel and stuff like that, I do believe that would be possible, I guess. But like she was saying, they'd have to lock on and fire multiple rounds, and it'd be, I don't know where she got off that it'd be 3 to 5 cents per round, I guess, because she was talking about how it uses as much power as a typical American home. And if that's the case, then why'd my electric bill 2 to 3 cents a month? So
Because we have to pay for it.
yeah, we have to pay for it. So
But that's the thing, you know, the technology is there and it's used in various different things. But it started slipping out with the Maui. And now we're coming out that Israel's developed a weapon.
well,
What else is going to come out?
I don't think that laser going. I think that they're right about that laser over Maui because it was probably had no weapon intended to it. It was probably just
It
scanning our
probably
stuff.
didn't at that
No.
point. But what is SpaceX taking up all the time in military defenses?
SpaceX sends all kinds of crap up. To be honest with you,
They do. They really do.
all kinds of stuff.
But with Russia, India, Germany, America, all going to build their own space stations. And we've developed Space Force under the Trump administration. And they're going to bring down the International Space Station in
That's what they
a
say.
couple of years. You know, we're seeing big changes. And, you know, hopefully they're for the better. But, you know, what people work so diligently to develop to help better our society is always turned into something that can be very devastating.
Well,
And we have seen that time and time again. But they're using the distraction of the war to release this information.
I think they're using more of the stuff with the war to maybe release some of it, but change some of it too. Like, I don't know if you can see this or not, but so here it looks like in about 25 minutes at 8:39. Hey, Joe.
Hey, Joe.
At 12:39, they're going to have a Starlink launch. Tomorrow, from California, they're going to have a Starlink launch. The 26th, Japan's going to have a satellite launch. A 3-crew member will launch from the whatever space station on the whatever this is 17 mission. The crew will be named at the future date. So then it says launch time to be determined. November 3rd and 4th, SpaceX is launching another crew to the space station.
Yep.
On the
And you know, most of the stuff you can see on SpaceX live feed on YouTube.
Oh yeah, and you wouldn't believe how much testing SpaceX does.
Oh yeah. So everybody's, you know, quick to jump down Elon Musk. But you know what? He's sending a flight up or 2 flights up every week.
Yeah.
It's not once every 6 months. It's once every week or twice a week, depending on what days they launch off of.
Most of what he sends up is not government related. It's a lot of it's even from other countries.
Oh yeah.
So a lot of it's from other countries that they don't have their own space stuff. So Elon Musk does it for them. NASA used to do that too.
Hey, Miss Ruth, how you doing, sugar?
NASA used to do that all the time. Well, that's one reason why we had such a big space shuttle.
Well, and a lot of times when we were still in talking terms with Russia, they would take manned flights up to the International Space Station and bring people back.
Yeah.
Well, now that we're not on such good talking terms with them anymore, I don't even know that that's still happening.
We were on bad terms with them and still had to use the space agency for them.
Yeah. Private contracts, that's what it's about.
Well,
But see, you know,
we
Go
canceled
ahead.
the space station or canceled the space shuttle and didn't have any way to get to space. So that
Well-
was before SpaceX, or that's whenever SpaceX blew up. Not blew up literally, but well, they blew up a few times literally too. But
Well, when they were doing their test flights, yeah.
they
Hmm.
yeah, they still blow up stuff. But
Well, most of the time it's the rockets that they're trying to bring back and land on their pads. And I'm going to tell you, if you've never watched a SpaceX launch, that is probably about the coolest thing you're ever going to see is when they take off and they go up and they separate out, and then the rockets come back down and they set down on pads. That's
seen 'em come back down.
phenomenal. That's phenomenal. We could have been doing this decades ago, but nobody had the vision or the
let's see.
fortitude or aptitude to do that.
Well, nobody had the money either, really. That somebody had to. Now I'm sure SpaceX, because I mean that's a lot of money just to come up with something just to prove that hey, we're worth a government contract now to do this. So
Yeah. And I mean, there's all kinds of distractions out there when it comes to what's going to be publicly released and what's not. I heard this week that, the leader of Hamas, and I haven't been able to verify this, was poisoned by the CIA.
I
But
just heard he was dead, but I haven't seen any.
But I also heard the guy who ordered the Hamas battle and invasion took his entire family to Turkey. And they're safely housed there. And he's just hopping around from one base to another, staying on the move so they don't catch him. So I don't know what's true.
Well, that's probably a smart idea for him. So, especially if you make everybody think you're dead, and
then you just keep on doing what you're doing.
I was watching something earlier, and it was like news from the 90s, and it was talking about how everybody thought O.J. Simpson was dead, and then
no, he just got out of jail.
No, this was before he went to jail.
Oh, we knew he wasn't dead. I watched the trial.
No, it was before the trial. It was before they caught him. They were saying he committed suicide. This is close to where I lived in Texas, and this is just shows a little bit about their testing there. So they got like 5 different rocket pads.
Well, happy 39th birthday, Dion.
Oh yeah, I said happy to see. There goes one of their little mini rockets firing off.
Yep.
One of the Merlin rockets. And these will rock your house. I think that's the what are they using them on? Might be on the re-entry ships, on the space capsules. And a lot of that you see coming off is steam too, because they'll fill tanks underneath the rockets when they're going off like that to try to muffle the sound some. And then throughout the day up until tonight, you can see up here they've had one of the Merlin ones, the Raptor Vertical, and the Raptor Tripod. So they've already had 3 tests today of 3 different engines. So yeah,
You're
happy
welcome,
birthday.
Dion. But yeah, I mean,
I think I put it on your page, but
these are the things that, the media is not focusing on that you kind of need to be watching.
I'll focus
just
a lot
never
on
know.
that stuff because I like space stuff. So
Yeah, but you can also watch what's going on in Congress and the Senate, which I haven't been getting as many feeds from them here lately, but I have been hearing through the grapevine. The Democrats have voted down banning sanctions on anybody who does business with Hamas,
Yeah, they did.
which I thought was kind of bad.
And I think a lot of Democrats thought it was bad too, to be honest with you. I don't know who all would have voted for that. And I think some of it's just like, oh, well, this is what one party wants, so we don't want it.
Well,
So-
you know, when they vote to not impose sanctions on a terrorist organization, that shows that they're supporting that organization to me.
That's what it makes
And
sense
you
to
know
me.
what? We need to find out who those people are, whether they be on the left, whether they be on the right, whether they be in the middle, and get them out of there.
I agree.
We do not need people who support terrorist organizations in our government.
Well, I mean,
Oh, wait a minute. We're going to have to get Joe Biden out there too, and Hunter. Because they're
I mean, a
supporting
lot
the
of people-
neo-Nazis in Ukraine.
a lot of people don't understand. Yeah, no kidding. So where's your which side are you going to support then? Because you got Nazis in Ukraine that are wanting to, I'm sure, fully supporting killing the Jews. I
Yep.
was looking-
Well, it's like Roseanne Barr said, just because he's a Jew don't mean he's a good Jew.
right.
I mean, we got George Soros, who help his uncle or his godfather at that point in time during the Nazi war, help his uncle clean out and turn in Jews. That's how he got most of his money, from his uncle, while his own parents and his siblings went to the death camps. But yet he's a big humanitarian now, who is just retired last June and passed the gauntlet over to his son. For those of you who didn't know.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And he's
That's
also a great big huge supporter of BLM, the KKK, and all other organizations.
I got one video I found from, I think it was from TMZ, which are very left leaning most of the time. And if my mouse and keyboard hadn't messed up, I would have had this a lot more organized. But my keyboard decided to mess up too. So
Yeah, technology, we love it, but you know, sometimes it just don't really work right.
blame China.
She is the shit, Dion. I'm going to tell you, she is the shit. She was like one of my biggest heroes when I was raising kids. I was like, yeah, you tell them, girl.
I've seen her on a bunch of stuff. I think she's got another. I know she won the lawsuit for the rights to the Connors.
Yep. But, yeah, I mean, she's got her own podcast now with her son. And I'm going to tell you, they do some really good shows and they have some really good hosts. So if you ever get a chance, check her out.
And now a bunch of actors and actresses are saying that she ruined their lives. So,
Aw, poor babies. Little
So this
Karens.
is TMZ talking about BLM Chicago celebrates some Hamas's attack on Israel.
Yep.
They want to exterminate Jews, and the Black Lives Matter
What
movement
is-
in Chicago.
What is stunning to me is that
Ugh.
the black
TMZ. Have we ever played a clip from TMZ on this show ever? Crap. Maybe it was something with Kanye years ago. TMZ, which TMZ is just like this big gossip rag. You've all seen it in things over the years. It's become like a really huge cultural institution.
Sorry, I did it again. Give me just a second and I will fix that. I have not got it together today. I'm sorry.
Well, it's Tuesday. We're still trying to climb the hump to get to the hump day.
Right. All right, here we go again.
Wow.
Welcome back to TMZ Live. we have to talk about something that honestly has enraged both of us, and I know just from looking online, thousands and thousands of other people. It is a reaction to the terrorist attack by Hamas that started on Saturday and which has now put Israel at war. This is what the Black Lives Matter Chicago chapter, and I want to emphasize that is the Chicago chapter, that posted this yesterday. And you saw it yesterday evening, called me because you couldn't believe what you were seeing, but it is an image of a paraglider with the Palestinian flag flying off of his chute.
And I want
and it says underneath it, "I stand with Palestine." Now, the caption, I think, also bears, because the caption to me is defiantly saying, I know what your reaction is going to be to this. And the caption says, "That is all."
Yeah, this is BS.
That is
this is BS. So that paraglider, by the way, the paragliders are the ones who flew into Israel and they decapitated babies, shot and killed babies, raped women, killed women, took hostages, slaughtered families in their homes. These are disgusting, vile terrorists. That's all they are. And that
Tell it, brother, tell it.
Know is Hamas. They're the ones that released the video of the paragliders because they were so proud of the carnage. And Black Lives Matter in Chicago embraced the killing of Jews. They are Hitler. Hold on. They are Hitler-esque. They are a Hitler-esque organization to do something like that. Period. These are Nazis essentially trying to exterminate Jews, and they are embraced by Black Lives Matter in Chicago. It is disgusting.
Yeah, the statement "I stand with Palestine" has nothing to do with those paragliders. Nothing.
Nothing.
The paragliders.
Nothing.
Were terrorists,
Nothing.
and they wanted the world to know the terror.
Okay, I do not believe that, to be honest with you. It might be kind of like that, to where I stand with Palestine doesn't mean that you support Hamas, but it kind of does. So now Palestine might include the West Bank too. But
well, you know, I got issues with it. Anybody who was told to evacuate, get out of the way, we're coming. But then when the Hamas, the terrorists, tell them not to leave because they need their dead bodies for videos, and they choose to stay, I'm sorry. I'm packing my bags and I'm leaving the city. Y'all can have this bitch. Okay? That would be my attitude. I know that the people who stayed have family members in the Hamas military and they're supporting them. But you know what? That makes you a terrorist too. So bye-bye. So sad. Kiss your ass goodbye.
Well, they're not really getting out right now.
Get what you want.
Nobody's letting them out.
Well, I'm sorry, but that whole city, that whole section of Gaza, Palestine, is not one big city. They've got little big cities all over the damn place. I'm sorry. I'm going to the damn desert somewhere. I'm getting the hell out. Put me a white flag over my head. Not part of them. Go get them, boys. Peace, loving here.
Well, Gaza's not that big. I will say that much. Gaza's not that big, and now nobody wants, like you said, nobody wants to let them in because they don't think they'll leave. And you see, I had a video about Poland and that.
Well, nobody wants to let them in because they know they won't leave and go back. It's like what they're doing over here in the United States. I'm sorry. We're letting them in. They won't ever leave.
Joe, what do you call two politicians in a room? A crime scene.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Joe. A battery has a positive side. The only positive side is I know Joe Biden won't live forever.
I can't find that video I was talking about a second ago. But here's a crazy one about drugs. That's stuff coming across the border.
Yeah, well, not to mention
kind of crazy ones.
fentanyl. Coming from China through Mexico.
Surprise, surprise. This one comes from Portland, so they could probably just import it into Portland from China.
Ooh. The city where drugs are legal.
Yeah.
Mass fentanyl overdose is under investigation. Portland Fire responded to 8 victims in the North Park blocks early today. Firefighters say they range in age from their late teens to early 20s. Crews took 4 people to the hospital. We do not know their condition at this time. The other 4 were given Narcan and refused treatment. First responders tell us they all ingested a powder that was likely laced with fentanyl. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us at 4. I'm Ray Gaswell.
And I'm Steve Dunn. 5 ambulances responded to the park blocks following this mass overdose. This comes at a time when there's a strain on resources all across the county right now. K2's Megan Allison joined us live at the park where this all happened. And Megan, what did you see out there today?
Yeah, Steve, there was a lot of panic when crews first responded to the playground behind me this morning. Firefighters tell us it was a bystander who first administered Narcan and then called for help. Originally, they thought it was only one person who had overdosed and then realized it was a much bigger problem. Portland Fire tells us they called in every available resource to respond to a mass overdose on Monday. Rick Graves says, unfortunately, these incidents are becoming more common.
It's having a significant effect, not only on those that are choosing to use it, but on the entire community that witnesses what goes on. We're normalizing something that probably maybe shouldn't be normalized.
I sat down with Commissioner Renee Gonzalez to ask how the city is approaching this crisis. We know this is a problem that's been building all year. What's being done at the city level to address this?
Well, there's a big push on what we can work with on the criminal justice side with our partners. We started by banning outdoor drug use in the city of Portland as a city council. Unfortunately, we have to wait for the state legislature to allow us to enforce that. That's extremely frustrating, but it is the reality of Oregon law currently.
Gonzalez says he recognizes resources are limited.
Our weakest link right now is just ambulance availability. So when we have to call in 5 ambulances, we know we're taking them away from the rest of the city. We've continued to fight for and have preserved fire staffing of 171 per day. That's why it's essential in instances like that, like this, that we have redundancy of resources.
Portland police tell us through tools like targeted missions, they're trying to adapt as well.
Our narcotics and organized crime unit has been alerted to more than 240 overdoses. And to put that into context and into perspective, there were around 150 all of last year, and we still have 3 more months to go this year.
These cases are now under investigation. Police tell us this is an epidemic, and they're working with federal partners to address it. We're live in Northwest Portland. Megan Allison, K2 News.
Megan, thank you for that.
So there you are, folks.
Oh, I've got another one that's even worse or as bad as that one, but it's about fentanyl in Portland too. But they're working with federal forces to stop it. So in other words, they're working with federal dollars to stop their problem that they started pretty much themselves.
And you're right, Joe. It's in everything. I have seen videos and news reports where people have been OD'd on fentanyl from handling your everyday dollar.
I do remember that, Joe. The Tylenol scare
back
in the day. Okay, well, do you want to see a good reason why it's in everything, especially drugs?
Yes, let's show that beautiful beam footage, sir.
You spoke with told you he's never seen fentanyl this cheap.
Yeah, that's right, Laurel. And simply put, it is scary due to the potency of this drug. It is not a stretch to say that if the price of a fentanyl pill continues to trend downward, no question about it, more people will buy these pills and we'll see more overdoses. Southwest 6th and Harvey Milk in downtown Portland, a hotspot for drug use and drug dealing, authorities say. And Tuesday morning was no different. A police officer doing surveillance in the area spotted a guy selling fentanyl.
We went in to stop that individual. He ran on a skateboard, made it a couple blocks. He was arrested here. He is a juvenile, but has an outstanding warrant for robbery.
A 17-year-old arrested for dealing drugs. And believe it or not, it's not even the wildest bust of the week.
I think 200 grams of compressed white powdered fentanyl. So a significant seizure, middle of the day, 2 o'clock in the afternoon on the city sidewalk.
Officer David Baer says the suspected dealer also had approximately 3,500 of those blue pills laced with fentanyl. Officer Baer says the guy was selling the pills for as little as 80 cents a pop.
We thought, there's no way you can get cheap smaller, obviously with, market demands and all that, the economies of the drug market. He said 80 cents, and we even confirmed that because I'm like, there's no way he just said 80 cents.
He is Eddie's Centeno, a guy with no criminal history, at least locally. Centeno appeared in court Tuesday afternoon to answer to felony drug charges.
Are some of these people, frankly, labor trafficking victims? Yeah, you could absolutely say that.
Regardless of who they are, Officer Baer says they're pushing drugs that should be avoided at all costs.
Don't trust any drugs you buy on the street. All drugs that we've tested, that we've seized in the last year, have tested positive for fentanyl, including, cocaine and meth and other recreational drugs. Everything has fentanyl residue on it.
All right, Officer Baer says the police bureau is stepping up efforts in the city's hotspots to address the fentanyl epidemic, and we can tell you they're not alone. The Multnomah County Sheriff's Office is tackling the problem as well. In fact, just last week, they seized the largest amount of fentanyl in that agency's history. Listen to this, 58,000 fentanyl pills and 16 pounds of the fentanyl powder. Back to you.
Wow. That's scary, folks. That's getting freaking scary.
That is scary. 80 cents a pill. And I couldn't really tell if it was, when he said the little blue pills, he might have been talking about
he was taught the erectile dysfunctional pill.
Laced with fentanyl. So for 80 cents a piece. Now, I know if you go and buy them prescription wise, it's usually like $1 or $2 or $5 a piece, depending on which brand you get. But 80 cents a piece, and they're all laced with fentanyl, much not counting the powder.
You're right. You can't
That's
do
what he was
it.
talking about was the boner pills. So you can go and buy them for 80 cents, and you get an extra kick out of it too. So
it might be a little more than a kick than what you want.
Maybe. But then you come back.
Fentanyl it's a prescription controlled controlled substance for a reason, people.
Well, fentanyl is highly, I don't know of anybody that actually
highly
gets
addictive.
Prescribed fentanyl. It's more of like, hey, you're at the hospital, and
it's a common relaxing drug. And as me stressed out Karens as we have now, but I mean.
That's horrible, man.
That's bad, Dion. But you know what? It'd probably be safer.
Might be some splinters in it or something, but
just put a rubber on it. Safe sex, sir. Safe sex.
I was going to play one about truckers too, since we're jumping all over the place. But yeah, that is so scary for the it to be that cheap, and then it's kind of like no wonder all these people are overdosing on it. It's not really a big surprise whenever.
And that's true. I mean, it's so very true.
When you can get fentanyl cheaper than you can get Sudafed or something like that.
Oh yeah, have you tried to buy a damn Dayquil here lately over the counter?
No, I haven't, to be honest with you.
4 pills, $4.85 a pack.
Ugh.
That's 2 doses. Like I said, 89 cents on the street. About 20 and some change over the counter.
That's just insane to me.
Yeah.
And
that's a safe dosage.
And then they wonder why people start going off the market to try to get stuff. Because I bet you can get a lot of those drugs a heck of a lot cheaper down in Mexico, just because you don't have the regulations.
Yep.
Let's see. We were sick last week and got the Dayquil, NyQuil dual pack. Here in Iowa, I paid $15.99 plus tax for 4 pills of each at Dollar General. Yep, that sounds about right.
That's right.
So I haven't watched this one yet, but here's California Green Dream from John Stossel. We'll see what he's got to say. It says coming to your state. It seemed like I didn't watch this one yet, but I don't think they were very satisfied with it.
Brian Wanner runs Peter Brothers Trucking. His family business delivers goods all over America. But now he says Pennsylvania bureaucrats will force him out of his home state.
We have no say. We can't do anything about it.
No say, because Pennsylvania's rules don't come from Pennsylvania. They came from California.
State regulators unanimously voting 14-0.
This is an absolutely transformative rule to clean our air and mitigate climate change.
Emission rules will eliminate tens of thousands of trucks.
If we want to follow California, we can move there. I want to follow what Pennsylvania residents want to do. I don't want to be anything like California.
But too bad for him, because years ago, Pennsylvania's Environmental Quality Board decided we'll automatically copy California rules.
California just declared war on pollution from large trucks.
The newest rule, copied from California, will raise the price of new trucks. The truck will cost a third more.
It's anywhere from 50 to 80,000.
It's necessary, say California regulators, because
The time for putting public health second to the economy is over.
trucks you drive contribute gravely to health problems.
We have come so far in the last 40 years. In 1980, one truck produces as much as 60 trucks today.
So we want people to buy new trucks.
You want people to buy new trucks, but if you put these costs on us that we cannot afford, we're going to just run the older trucks.
The regulators don't think about that.
They do not think about that. They do not see the consequences of what they're doing.
Now, truckers like Brian, to save $80,000, will just buy trucks in other states.
We could drive to Ohio and get cheaper trucks.
The rule doesn't apply to any of those trucks. It'll just hurt Pennsylvanians who sell trucks, and there won't be any pollution reduction.
The people on this board, the Fish and Boat Commission, the Game Commission, the Museum Commission, what do they know about air pollution?
Well, apparently nothing.
Caleb Kruckenberg of the Pacific Legal Foundation.
The whole idea of having a regulatory board like this is, oh, these people are experts. They know what they're talking about. They're smarter than the lawmakers. But if you look at the board, that's not true. I mean, these are just sort of random bureaucrats who work in the government, and they say, I don't know, let's follow California.
So what? California seems to have a lot of money. I could see a state saying, yeah, let their regulators figure out how we reduce pollution, and we'll save money doing what they do.
Nobody in Pennsylvania has ever voted for the standards that now control Pennsylvania.
He says what Pennsylvania is doing violates the Constitution.
If people want something, their legislature is supposed to pass it.
We will eliminate in the state of California the sales of internal combustion engines.
California's rules will soon get even more expensive because they want all new vehicles to be electric.
The hope is that it's a pollution reduction. But again, electricity comes from somewhere. And usually it comes from fossil fuel emissions.
Where does Pennsylvania get its electricity?
Pennsylvania makes a lot of electricity from coal.
Almost 5 times as much from coal as from so-called clean renewables like solar or wind. Most Pennsylvania electricity comes from natural gas. So to power all electric trucks, Pennsylvania will burn more fossil fuels. In addition,
we cannot supply enough electricity to power the trucks.
You don't have charging stations?
The charging stations, we can get the charging stations. We do not have the supply of electricity.
Nor do other states.
They can't even provide enough electric to provide their own cars in California.
Californians are sometimes told not to charge their electric cars. Another problem, electric trucks are heavy.
The heavier the trucks are, the harder it is on the road. They have a very low mileage radius, so you can't work all day. It's nothing that you can take across the United States with a load. We're not even close to getting there.
No, but the regulators don't seem to care. They want to look like they care about the environment.
Why would we allow our state to give away their lawmaking procedures to California? Why would we allow that with no input? That's not the American way.
We actually like your input. Anything you want us to cover, please let us know.
There you go, folks. See, while we're being distracted by the war in Israel, all this new legislation and all these new rules with the EPA and FMCSA are going to be passed. You're not going to know about it.
I don't think it's just with the war in Israel, to be honest, because this is something that's been going on even before the war with Israel. And Pennsylvania pretty much already said they're just going to pass whatever California passes. And like Joe Fox was talking about having problems with it in 1998. Well, California just keeps getting worse and worse like that. And California damn sure can't power their own country or own state right now.
They can't even let their own residents charge their own electric cars. They can't even keep their own lights on because they have outlawed coal. They're trying to outlaw fossil fuels.
I mean, that's just
there's only so many wattages that, you know, solar panels and wind turbines can generate. They're going in like hotcakes all across America.
And then when they go in, you're still doing the same thing that they complain about with farms and cattle and stuff like that. And you're still just wiping out a bunch of land that could be used for
food.
Food, exactly. And that was the other thing years and years ago when they were trying to turn everything to E85.
Yeah. And they're trying to get everybody convinced, ooh, these mealworms are yummy. Let's feed them to your children in schools.
I mean,
let's eat crickets, folks.
Well, you see now,
and worms and bugs.
People have just, and it's been going on for years. I'm not going to say that it's something new because people have been doing that for years and years and years, you know. But the green energy stuff, they just keep on getting it to where it's like, really? Like, something I really didn't think about was tearing up the roads even worse with the weight of them. And I thought about the weight of them because the more something weighs, the more energy you're going to need to move it, which is, you know, and
you're right. Our trucks are not the issue. I'm going to tell you what, back when I started way back in the 90s driving, you were lucky if you got 3 or 4 miles to the gallon on a truck with a heavy load. Now I'm getting 7 and 8 miles to the gallon.
Well, like he said, they've improved. Look how much he said. And I believe he's right. You know, I remember the old trucks, how, you know, even from the Smokey and the Bandit days, you know, and you'd see rolling coal, as they'd call it now, you know.
Yep.
But we're not going to be able to produce enough electricity for them to push everything to go electric that they want to go electric.
That's right.
And shutting down everything else because they're trying to shut down. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, Chad. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, with everything shutting down, and then you're wanting to shut down coal mines and coal plants and everything else like that, you're just not going to be able to produce enough power unless well, I guess we could do that. We could run giant power lines coming from Mexico and then send it all to Mexico. Send all the power plants to Mexico. I'm
sorry, you're still going to need trucks to carry the coal and wire.
Yeah,
you're still going. No, you can't get trains out in the middle of the freaking desert, fella. I'm sorry, they can only go so far.
If you make electrified tracks, you could. That's the solution.
Well, you gonna move the tracks every 10 feet? No. Oh, you can blow that smoke up somebody else's ass. It ain't gonna float here. You're not going to get it moved. Your clothes, your shoes, your food, everything gets moved by a truck. They start cutting down on the trucks. People are going to get hungry.
Well, like they said,
they've already started cutting down on the damn pipelines. Thank you, Uncle Joe Biden, big union supporter. You screwed your pipeline workers over in PA when you shut that damn pipeline down to replace a 50-year-old pipe that was carrying natural gas and oil to the refineries to help fuel your power plants and heat and cool your homes. You
I mean,
dumbass.
I'm not really disagreeing with you. I'm just saying that's their view of it. So because they
But
also,
I'm going to tell you, as soon as I get off this show, I've got to go take food to Texas. Guess what? I'm not carrying it on my back.
well, you don't hear Texas talking about trying to get rid of the truck drivers. So
Well, you know what? I have carried food all over. I refuse to go to the Northeast to take anything up there because they're so damn jacked in the head. I will not take a load of anything up there. Or anybody. They tell me I go. I don't know. I'm not going.
don't exactly blame you, to be honest with you.
You know, if you want to be a communist, you can just figure out how to grow your own damn food and make your own damn clothes. Take notes from the Amish. If you can get them to talk to you.
What is somebody out here is driving something that burns a lot of gas. I'll tell you that right now.
Yep.
You can tell from their exhaust, but
That's right. They're drinking that damn Kool-Aid that Uncle Joe's feeding their asses. You're starting to wake up. You ain't got no jobs. Your homeless people are escalating. Your damn immigrants are overflowing. Guess what? They're only going to stay in those hotel rooms for so long. All those people living on the streets are going to have to go somewhere because guess what? Winter's coming. It's going to be a cold bitch.
well, I don't know if we have time for this, but I just saw this. Speaking of people, them shelters and stuff, it's only 3 minutes. So let's see if.
After months of protests, the migrant shelter on Staten Island is now closed after fire officials determined the site was unsafe for people to live in.
Yeah, this as Mayor Eric Adams is mandating migrant families to leave shelters after 60 days. Fox 5's Lizette Nunez joins us from outside the Roosevelt Hotel. That's the migrant intake center in Midtown with the very latest. Lizette, what's going on here?
Hey, good morning, Dan and Tashani. Well, the migrants that were staying on Staten Island, they were brought here to the Roosevelt Hotel. The city has already received more than 127,000 asylum seekers, and now they are getting ready to open up Floyd Bennett Field to families.
Hoy nos pararon a las 7 de la mañana. No hemos almorzado bien. No hemos comido muy bien. Ya pararon, se tienen que retirar de acá.
Ismael from Caracas, Venezuela, is one of several migrants forced to leave St. John Villa Academy. He was woken up at 7 in the morning and was told he had to go. The fire department shut down the Staten Island migrant shelter over the lack of a working sprinkler system and fire alarms. Asylum seekers packed their belongings and waited to be taken to the Roosevelt Hotel.
Nosotros lo que buscamos es una estabilidad en el sentido de un trabajo. Con el trabajo uno paga sus servicios, sus impuestos.
He says he's looking for stability, a job, and to be able to pay for rent and taxes. The site has been the center of controversy since it opened. It was meant to house 300 migrants, but took in 170. For months, tensions repeatedly boiled over after community members opposed the site. At times, those protests leading to arrest.
People of this community finally got a victory that they deserved many, many months ago. It was in the middle of a beautiful residential community adjacent to St. Joseph Hill Academy and a couple of blocks from PS 39. It was just wrong on so many levels. And it was wrong because it was deemed to be unsafe. And what finally happened is the fire department came in and validated what we've been saying for many, many months.
They're taking basically all of our tax money and giving them free stuff and free housing.
This latest move comes as the city announced it will be giving migrant families with children 60 days to find alternative housing. Families will work with caseworkers to help explore other housing options. With an average of 600 new arrivals daily, the city says it will also be opening Floyd Bennett Field to house migrant families with children in the coming weeks. And the Legal Aid Society, well, they are pushing back on moving migrants to Floyd Bennett Field. They believe the remote location is going to impact children and their education as well as any access to health care. We're live in Midtown.
So once again, they're just moving them around more. And I have seen
Yep.
a lot of Staten Island protest it, but at least they were able to get them to move them out. If more people start complaining about moving them in their neighborhoods, then which like Chicago's trying to do now, then they'll run out of places to move them. And
Absolutely, Dion. Absolutely.
yeah, definitely.
Hell no. Take care of our homeless vets and our homeless before the migrants. You're right. They came here of their own free will. It's not our job to take care of them. They need to figure out how to take care of themselves. Us putting them up in $400 and $500 a night hotel rooms and them trashing them out, ain't cutting it.
Well, that Roosevelt Hotel that they keep moving them to, that place isn't going to be, they'll end up having to shut that down because it won't be fit to live in too. It wouldn't surprise me any.
Well, I tell you what, in my little hometown here in Oklahoma, I never thought I would see these signs popping up on people's yards. But I saw several last time I was home last week. It said no crackheads on the grass, no migrants either.
Well,
That says something. That says a lot.
we hadn't had to worry about the migrants that much here from so far, but
So, it's getting bad, folks. We see all the Mockingbird media with all the war on Israel and Hamas and Pakistan and Gaza and Palestine and Libya and Iran and Pakistan and Afghanistan. What's going on right here in our own backyards? We're seeing the distractions on the TV. We are not seeing what's going on. We got the new regulations that's going in that's going to affect our food supply, our gas supply, our oil supply, our education for our children.
and most of these people
Stay
doing that-
focused.
most of these people making the laws don't even have any clue about what they're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, unless you stay focused on what's going on around you and taking care of your own, and you stay completely focused on the Mockingbird media's narrative, we're losing our country one vote, one regulation, one law, one rule at a time.
I agree 100%. And I watch a lot of the stuff on the electricity and stuff like that. And it's just, we're stuck on, hey, thanks, Dion. I can't say your name right that you go by.
Dion Cullion.
Yeah, Dion.
Cullion.
Dijon, something like that. So he actually made our outro, our new outro we have now too. So, which we're about to use because Sally's got to go drive to.
I got to go take some food to our citizens. And if you haven't noticed, I got my pumpkin shirt on because I am the pumpkin lady this week. So
Yeah, I like
join
that
us in a
shirt.
couple of weeks. We're going to have Halloween. You're not going to believe what you're going to see on this show.
I'm kind of afraid.
Yeah, you better be afraid, dude. You better be afraid. We still got to get you figured out.
Yeah, me too.
So anyway, just remember, folks, sometimes in life you just have to say, truck it.
Truck it.
God bless. Take care. And we'll see you next week.
Everybody have a good week.